You might not feel thirsty, but your body could already be slowing down in ways you can't see yet. That was Rosa's story. Digestion slowed, memory dulled, her skin felt dry. But not once did she think it was dehydration. What if your cells were asking for help? But your brain stopped listening years ago. There's a simple hydration rhythm that's helping seniors feel lighter, clearer, and more alive again, without pills, powders, or gallons of water. After 60, your sense of thirst fades, but your body still depends on it. Most people don't know this. By the time your mouth feels dry, your cells have been quietly struggling for hours. And when hydration slips, everything slows. Gut movement, mental sharpness, joint recovery, immune response. But there's a way to reawaken those internal signals. It's the same hydration rhythm that helped Rosa feel steady again, and it might just change how you start your day too. 1. The invisible thirst that fools the brain. Frank never felt thirsty. He had his coffee in the morning, maybe a soda with lunch, and the occasional glass of water at dinner, if he remembered. But lately, he noticed something strange. His knees ached longer after walks, his energy dipped before noon, and his mind felt foggy. He brushed it off as aging. That's just what 71 feels like, he told himself. But that assumption nearly cost him the quiet rhythm his body was still begging for. You see, after 60, the brain's thirst sensors, called osmoreceptors, start to misfire. A 2023 study from the Journal of Gerontology found that adults over 65 experience a 40% drop in thirst sensitivity, meaning their body can be dehydrated, yet the brain stays silent. In a 2022 NIH challenge trial, seniors were given saltwater infusions to simulate dehydration. Despite similar cellular water loss, older adults drank 48% less than younger ones. Their brains no longer heard the need. Think of it like this. Your body is quietly tapping on the door, asking for help. But the doorbell, the sensation of thirst, is broken. Frank wasn't dizzy. He wasn't fainting. But he was slower, sluggish in his recovery, foggy in thought. And it wasn't about age. It was about drought, a hidden dryness deep in his tissues. So we tried something simple. He set up 3 small jars by the kitchen sink. Each one held 8 ounces of water, and each had to be emptied before certain times. 1 by 10 a.m., 1 by 2 p.m., 1 by 6 p.m. The visual nudge made the invisible need visible again. Within a week, he noticed sharper mornings, less stiffness, and a kind of energy he hadn't felt since his 50s. Because here's the truth. If you wait to feel thirsty after 60, it's already too late. Try this today. Lay out 3 cups or jars where you'll see them. Use color, labels, or even coins to track. Don't wait for thirst. Create a rhythm your brain can relearn. And pause for a second now. What would your body have said to you this morning before that first sip of coffee? Let's keep going. Because what happens after this silent dehydration takes hold can quietly ignite inflammation that ages your organs from the inside out. 2. How dehydration triggers inflammation and ages you faster. Elaine was always active. A retired nurse in her late 60s, she still volunteered at the community center, tended her herb garden, and led a small walking group twice a week. But recently, she felt a shift. Not just in energy, but in her joints, in her sleep. Even her memory. She hadn't changed her diet. She wasn't sick, but she felt older, fast. What she didn't know is that mild dehydration can mimic the effects of biological aging at the cellular level and accelerate them. Let's start with the science. A 2021 paper published in Frontiers in Aging studied over 11,000 adults and found that even slightly elevated blood sodium levels, above 142 millimoles per liter, were linked to 6.4 years of accelerated epigenetic aging. That means your internal biological age, how your cells behave, jumps forward, silently, just from being underhydrated. Why does this happen? When cells lose water, they shrink. But more importantly, they signal distress. This activates a cascade of inflammatory chemicals like interleukin-6, IL-6, and C-reactive protein, CRP. In the same study, people with low hydration markers had 30% higher IL-6 and 76% more hsCRP circulating in their bloodstream. You can think of inflammation as your body's emergency flare, and without enough water, those flares go off constantly, burning slowly in your tissues, joints, and even brain. It's like running an engine with dirty oil and no coolant. It still runs, but it overheats, wears down faster, and breaks down sooner. Elaine wasn't lacking motivation. She was fighting a cellular wildfire, without even knowing it. So we made one change. She started tracking her hydration rhythm, not how much she drank in total, but when and how often. Instead of gulping water twice a day, she sipped it evenly, starting with a glass before breakfast, another mid-morning, one with lunch, one mid-afternoon, and a smaller glass in the evening. Her joint stiffness, gone in a week. Her sleep, less disrupted. Her energy, back to baseline. And blood work, retested 6 weeks later, showed a 15% drop in CRP. Now, pause for a moment and ask yourself, have you ever felt tired, bloated, or stiff, even after a decent night's sleep? What if the problem wasn't your age, but a quiet cellular drought? In a moment, you'll see how dehydration doesn't just trigger inflammation. It also weakens your gut's protective lining, leaving you vulnerable to even more hidden symptoms. 3. What it does to your gut and how to fix it. Tom never connected his digestion to his water intake. At 68, he figured occasional bloating, irregular bowel movements, and that heavy, sluggish feeling were just part of the aging process. He tried probiotics, changed his breakfast, even cut back on spicy foods. But nothing seemed to bring lasting relief. What Tom didn't realize is that his gut was drying out from the inside, and without enough water, even the healthiest foods couldn't move properly. Let's break it down. Your gut isn't just a food tube, it's a living system protected by a mucosal barrier, a thin, gel-like layer that traps toxins, feeds good bacteria, and lubricates your digestive tract. But according to a 2022 review published in Nutrients, just 3% total body water loss can reduce gut mucus thickness by over 40%. That's like stripping away the body's internal raincoat, exposing your gut to friction, bacteria, and inflammation. Even worse, dehydration slows peristalsis, the wave-like contractions that move food through your intestines, by up to 58%. Based on a clinical study by the Digestive Health Institute. When movement slows, food ferments, gas builds, bloating begins, and beneficial bacteria like butyrate-producing microbes decline, starving your colon's defenses. It's not a food intolerance, it's not age, it's dryness at the root. For Tom, the solution wasn't just water, it was water plus gut-friendly fuel. We built a simple routine: half-cup kefir or unsweetened yogurt with breakfast, 1 glass of water 15 minutes before that meal, and a few forkfuls of fermented vegetables like sauerkraut or kimchi every other day. Within 2 weeks, his bloating eased. His bowel movements became regular, and, unexpectedly, he said he felt lighter in the head, like the fog had lifted. Why? Because hydration restores the mucus layer, and a hydrated gut supports butyrate, a fatty acid linked to improved memory, mood, and metabolic health. You don't have to change your whole diet. Sometimes it's about helping your gut help you, with enough hydration to protect it from the inside out. Try this simple pairing. Before breakfast tomorrow, drink 1 glass of room temperature water. Then have a spoonful of Live Culture yogurt. Give it 3 days, and see what shifts. Now, here's where things get really interesting. What if your body could relearn how to feel thirst, even after years of silence? Next, I'll show you the morning rhythm that rewires hydration signals in seniors, without overwhelming your kidneys or bladder. 4. The morning protocol that rewires hydration. Signals Mariah used to skip water in the morning, not because she didn't believe in it, but because she was afraid. Every time she drank a full glass right after waking, she ended up rushing to the bathroom. "It's like my bladder hasn't caught up yet," she said, half joking, half frustrated. She didn't know that her hydration rhythm was off, not just in quantity, but in timing and absorption. Here's what we now understand. The body absorbs water best when it's introduced gradually, especially in the morning when hormones like vasopressin, your water retention regulator, are still adjusting after sleep. A 2023 randomized trial published in the National Hydration Project tested seniors on two protocols. Group A drank 500 milliliters of water within 10 minutes of waking. Group B drank 250 milliliters every 2 hours starting at wake-up. The results? Group B had 68% fewer complaints of lightheadedness, 22% better cognitive performance, and reduced leg cramping by 41% by the end of the 30-day trial. Why? Because this gentle rhythm retrained the kidneys and brain to respond to hydration gradually, without triggering an emergency flush. Think of it like tuning an old radio. Flood it with noise, and it distorts. But dial it gently, and the signal comes back strong. That's what we did with Maria. Instead of one big glass, she started with half a glass of room temperature water upon waking, with a pinch of mineral salt and one slice of lemon. Then, half a glass every 90 to 120 minutes, not all at once. She also shifted her coffee to 15 minutes after her first water, giving her kidneys time to reorient. Within a week, she stopped feeling so rushed in the morning. Her energy stabilized before noon. And, surprisingly, she even noticed fewer headaches, especially on hot days. This morning rhythm is now something I recommend to every patient over 60. It's not about drinking more. It's about syncing your hydration to your biology. You can try this tomorrow. After waking, drink 4 ounces of room temperature water with a pinch of salt. Wait 10 to 15 minutes before tea or coffee, then aim for another 4 to 6 ounces every 2 hours until mid-afternoon. It may seem small, but this simple shift retrains your body to absorb, respond, and heal with water again. Because when hydration becomes a rhythm, not a task, your whole system begins to hum again. Now, before we close, there's one common morning mistake that keeps sabotaging seniors, even the ones who think they're hydrated. 5. Coffee doesn't dry you out, but this mistake does. George prided himself on his morning routine. He'd wake up, stretch for a few minutes, brew a strong cup of tea, and sip it while reading the paper. He drank water too, just not first, and not much. But despite his consistency, he felt foggy mid-morning, sometimes lightheaded, and his digestion sluggish, especially after breakfast. He blamed it on age, or maybe the weather. But here's the twist. It wasn't the tea, it was the order in which he drank it. Let's clear up a myth first. Many people still believe coffee and tea are dehydrating, but a 2024 meta-analysis published in Nutrition Reviews reviewed over 10 studies and concluded moderate caffeine intake under 300 milligrams per day, about 2 cups of coffee or tea, is hydration neutral for healthy adults. It doesn't dehydrate. But, and here's the key, it competes with water if consumed first thing. Why? Because your kidneys are in reset mode after sleep. Introducing caffeine immediately, without any water beforehand, spikes urine production by up to 30%. According to a 2021 clinical hydration study from the American Geriatric Society, that means your body expels more water than it retains, even if you don't feel the loss. It's like starting your day with a fire alarm before you've even filled the tank. For George, we made a subtle change: 8 ounces of water before tea, ideally with a pinch of salt or a squeeze of lemon. Then, wait 10 to 15 minutes, letting the body stabilize. After that, enjoy the tea as usual. Within days, the difference was obvious. He no longer felt dizzy standing up. His stomach felt awake earlier. And that heaviness he used to feel after breakfast? Gone. This isn't about giving up your morning drink. It's about respecting the sequence your body prefers. Try this. Before you sip your tea or coffee tomorrow, drink a glass of water. Notice how your mind and gut respond in the next hour. Then ask, was I really tired or just missequencing my hydration? These tiny shifts aren't trends. They're how we rebuild the rhythms aging quietly disrupts. And in a moment, I'll leave you with one gentle question, the kind that helped Maria, George, and so many others reclaim something they didn't know they had lost. Maria once said something I'll never forget. It wasn't that I felt dry, it was that I'd forgotten what hydrated felt like. That sentence lives with me because it speaks to something deeper than water. It's about reconnection to your cells, to your rhythm, to the quiet language your body still whispers, even after 70. If you felt foggy, slow, stiff, or just off, maybe it's not age. Maybe it's just time to listen again, to relearn what thirst feels like, not in your mouth, but in your gut, your mind, your movement. And if a single glass of water, taken gently and intentionally, can begin to reverse years of disconnection, what might your body be capable of 30 days from now? So here's your soft challenge. Try the hydration rhythm for 1 week. Small sips with structure. Water before caffeine, color cues on the counter. And 1 moment each morning to ask, how does my body feel before I feed it anything else? You don't need perfection, just presence. And trust that your body remembers, even if it's been quiet for a while. If this spoke to you, I'd love to walk with you again. Next time, we'll uncover an ancient morning drink monks used to sharpen their minds and calm inflammation, long before supplements or pills. Until then, stay hydrated, stay steady, and stay gently curious with your body.